Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right. Hey, my beautiful people. Well, welcome back, you beautiful souls, to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks. And if you are hearing me right now, I want you to take a breath with me. Let's breathe in together. Because you know what, y'all? We made it. We have made it. Let's welcome season 4. I want to welcome y'all to season 4. And this season is the season of intentional healing. And I want to take a moment right now, just to take a nice moment right now, because right now we are 2 years of celebration, 2 years of the season of self-love. It was 2 years ago, my 51st birthday month, that I created the season of self-love as a limited series on Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap. And it was only supposed to be for 1 month. And now here we are 2 years later, 360 episodes in, just 2 full years of us just showing up and growing and healing and crying and laughing and all those transforming together here. You know, this podcast has been a truly a sacred space, not only for me, but for us. It's been our sacred space. And in this celebrating this 2 years anniversary, I just want to thank you all. I want to thank you all for just trusting me Monday through Friday with your healing journeys and with the rebirth stories and all of that good stuff. You know, this journey has, for me, and I have to keep reminding everybody when I say this, because they said this is such an amazing podcast. This is our podcast. This is our journey. And again, it's not mine. And as we step into this new season, I just want all of you to know that when you look back from the first time we did this podcast, again, a limited series to where we are now, I can tell you right now is that I am not the same woman who started this. I'm not the same woman that started this podcast 2 years ago. And if you've been here on this journey with me from the very beginning, you are not the same either. All right, so there's going to be a new format to the season of self-love. So I want to explain. I want to talk about it right now. Now, this season, as I told you, that this is the season of intentional healing. And I want to talk to you about what that looks like, because we're doing something a little different and intentional. For season 4, we're shifting to a temporary format. And so for the next few months, it will be Mindset Monday and Wisdom Wednesday. And, you know, I want to be real with y'all. Y'all know I'm very candid on here, and I tell you exactly why. And as many of you know, that I've recently just undergone explant surgery. I removed my breast implants, and with them, I removed years and years of silencing my body's truth and years of not listening. You know, years of choosing what I thought I should be over who I actually am. So right now I'm healing, not just physically, though, yes, my body is doing miraculous, but energetically, emotionally, and spiritually. And I am actively right now in my rebirth. So as someone who teaches self-love, authenticity, and intentional living, I realized that I had a choice. I could push through and force the full 5-day schedule and be burnt out, be tired, just out of the name of just being perfect or consistent. Or I can practice what I preach, and I can show you what authentic healing actually look like. So that's what we're doing. We're doing 2 days a week, deep, intentional, powerful content. In season 5, we'll be back. We'll be back with the full Monday through Friday schedule. But right now, this is what we do about honoring ourselves, honoring myself for what it looks like. This is what boundaries look like. This is what self-love in action look like. So y'all know October is my birthday month, right? And it's also our theme of stepping into authenticity. And today I'm just going to talk to you about authenticity and intentional healing. And I want y'all to realize that I am living it in real time with you all now. So I want you all to buckle up for this beautiful ride, because this season is going to be raw, real, and transformative. So let's take a quick break, all right? It's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back. Hey, it's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. We're bridging the gap between them all, and we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG crew. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to asknaomi.com and tell them Naomi sent you.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
All right, my beautiful people, well, welcome back to the Season of Self-Love podcast. Again, I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and we are in our 4th season. We are celebrating our 2-year anniversary here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. Again, we started this off 2 years ago in October. It was my 51st birthday. It was a gift to myself, just as a limited series on Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast. And as I continue to say, I said at my altar and I heard it say daily. And I've been rocking daily with this podcast. And we're just coming back from a quick break. And as I mentioned before the break, is that I'm just recovering from my explant surgery. So we kind of doing a new format starting today, is that we're only doing 2 shows a week, and that's Mindset Mondays. Dr. Will be joining me on some of those Mondays, as well as Wednesday when we bring some amazing guests in to tell their story. But we still staying with the full thing, the same thing with the monthly series, topic series that we're talking about. And this month we're talking about stepping into authenticity. And how right is that for me to come back with my authentic self during my month birthday, and just really being able to show a lot of things that have been going on with me, but also to help you all just get through it, if that makes sense. So you know how we do it. Before we get into our topic at hand, let's just take a moment to ground ourselves, all right? So if we can just bow our heads at this moment in time, if you feel comfortable, all right? Okay, now I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. Now release slowly through your mouth. I want you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable to, and I want you to place one hand on your heart and one on your belly. And now I want you to breathe in authenticity and breathe out pretense. Now for this next breath, I want you to breathe in courage and breathe out fear. And on this next breath, I want you to breathe in self-love. And I want you to breathe out judgment. Feel the heartbeat beneath your palm. That is your truth. That is your power. Because you are exactly where you need to be. Now I want you to whisper to yourself, I am enough. I am authentic. I am reborn. Now take one more deep breath in. Breathe out. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes. All right, my beautiful people. Well, thank you for sharing that moment with me. And if you are new here to the season of self-love, that's something that we do every show, every single show here, just to help ground us before we get into the topic at hand. All right, so y'all ready to get into it? Let's get into it. So I'm currently right now, I'm officially tomorrow, I'll officially be 8 weeks post-explant surgery, post-op. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it about my recovery, because it has been one of the most humbling experiences in my life. So when I made the decision to remove my implants, I thought I understood what I was signing up for. I did my research. I talked to other women. I prayed on it. I prepared mentally. But you know what? I don't think you could ever truly prepare for it. You can't truly prepare for what it feels like to just reclaim your body after years of not fully being yourself. You know what I mean? It's like the physical healing has happened, which has taught me patience. And when I say patience, I was down for like 6 or 7 weeks actively with after the surgery, but I was down way before that. But through this whole thing, it has truly taught me patience. Truly taught me patience. And especially now, I didn't know that I needed. I know now, but before I didn't think that I needed, but I'm so glad that I did go through that transformation. There was days after the surgery that I could not lift my arms. I couldn't lift my arms over my shoulders at all. There was days that I had to ask people to help me to do the simplest task. There was days when I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the swelling and the bruising that changed my body. But here's what I learned. Healing is not linear. There are some days that I felt strong, ready to conquer the world. You know what I mean? And other days I just needed to have that cry, that moment, or just to be in that discomfort. And both of those days were very necessary, especially when you're going through a transformation like this. Both of those days were a part of my rebirth. They truly were. I've had to adjust a lot of my expectations, not load them down. I had to adjust them. And I'm so glad that we went through this journey for 2 years on the season of self-love, because I don't know, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I would have been able to know how to adjust. Because in this time I had to honor my body's timeline and not the timeline that I've always created in my head. I share with you all millions and millions of time about me being a sprinter. And that now I'm learning to be a long distance runner, a marathon runner. And in this process of me healing, this is something that I truly had to do. But again, I am thankful for this journey that I've been through, because it prepared me for this very moment. Because it's been one of the greatest acts of self-love that I've ever practiced. So if you are in your season of healing, whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual, I want you to hear this. Your healing is not behind schedule. Your healing is not behind schedule. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are becoming. So let's talk about the part that don't always get told, or we tell about those emotional layers. You see, removing my implants wasn't just a physical procedure. For me, it was shedding. It was a releasing. It was an unraveling of every belief that I held on about my worth, about my beauty, about my enoughness. For years, I wore a mask. And I looked at my implants as part of my costume of the mask that I had been wearing for years. You see, for years, I didn't realize that I was carrying shame as well. Shame about my body, shame about the choices that I made to get my implants in the first place. Shame about admitting that something once that I wanted was now making me sick, physically and spiritually. You see, these breast implants, you see, they're real. But beyond the physical symptoms, there was that energetic weight. I wasn't fully in my body. I wasn't fully in my power. I was performing a version of myself that I thought the world wanted to see. And when I finally said enough, I'm taking my body back. I'm taking my voice back. That's when the real healing, when it began. So there was moments in my recovery where, I cried. And let me explain this when I say about me crying. It was, and I'm trying to find the right words to say it. It was truly a humbling experience. I remember the very first time that I saw myself in the mirror naked, without the tape, without any of the gauze, of none of that. And I remember standing in my mirror, and I remember looking at myself, and I remember just oiling up my body because now I'm getting ready to do lymphatic massages. And I remember this overwhelming feeling of gratitude and relief. And it just felt like my body was glowing. And I just said, thank you. I just told myself in the mirror, just thank you. Thank you for being obedient. Thank you for listening to your body. Thank you for being raw, to this whole experience. And as I sat there, and I'm not trying to be nasty here, but I felt them. I had to, because I hadn't felt my chest, my breast, my natural breast in over 20, 21, 22 years. My breast is older than one of my daughters. The breast implants that I had was older than one of my youngest baby. And when I got my implants done, I believe my middle baby was 6 months old. So I lived a whole life with the men. And so me seeing that, it was very emotional. And I went through a stream of emotions with that cry. It was a cry of gratitude because my story is not like a lot of other women's stories. I was blessed for my story. But also there was a moment that there were the shame and guilt that came through. Like, why would you ever do that to your body? But then I had to remember the conversations that I had right here on this podcast. And I have to remember the healing that I went through myself and understand that was a part of my journey. That was a part of my path. But also I had to get through that to understand what my purpose is in life. Fool around to make it so complete. But again, there are moments in our breakthrough, moments that I look at the mirror and I saw me. I saw the real me. Again, for the first time in years. I can say this one thing is my practices of my altar that saved me during this time. Lighting my candles, praying, meditating, asking my ancestors and God and spirits to just guide me for strength. That connection kept me grounded when everything felt uncertain. I want to share a story with you all real quick, and I want to thank my auntie, and I'm going to say her name, and my Uncle Tank, my Auntie Sue and my Uncle Tank, who has opened up their home to me and my family when I was going through when I was having surgery, and I just remember being in the bedroom, and I remember my husband and her, they were, really serving me, bringing me food and stuff like that. But it was a moment, and I'm about to share with you, that I felt so low because I couldn't even put my arms around, excuse my language, and wipe my ass. And even though I knew what I was going through to better my life, just in that moment, I'm like, wow. So it's like this whole experience that I've had from my body being disabling to me now, not even able to wipe my backside, having to have someone else to wipe my backside. What I saw from them, that's love. That's unconditional love. When you find somebody that will come and wash your back because you can't. Those are things that I learned in these last 6 weeks. I learned about the unconditional love. I learned about the strength of my family. And I learned about my strength. You see, this experience has deepened my understanding of everything, of love, of authenticity in ways that I couldn't even imagine. And because of authenticity, it isn't just about speaking my truth. It isn't about living your truth even when it's uncomfortable. But it's also allowing yourself to be vulnerable when you want to be strong. Be vulnerable enough and humble enough to allow somebody to wipe your ass because you can't do it. Did it feel scary? Yeah. For a moment it did. But I'm all good now. I really am. So I know the question is why did I choose to reduce the schedule? Well, one thing is because I refuse to burn out in the name of perfection and consistency. And I refuse to just show up half present, half-headed. I couldn't do that anymore. I refuse to continue to keep preaching and talking to you all about self-love and how to treat yourself, and treating myself like I'm disposable. Then I wouldn't be authentic. I will be a lie. It will be a performance. If y'all been listening to this show from day one, especially from the first day of this year, you know that we do this real, raw, and uncut here. Authenticity is all that we have here. I know that God and the universe is using me as a vessel. So when I go through things in real time, I share those experiences with you all. And my prayer is that you can resonate, that you can see a solution for you through my journey. Or even if you were to step into your journey, that now I can maneuver, because I listened to Nyomi on this season of self-love, or I listened to one of her guests there on a season of self-love. So, but when I chose to take my implants out, I chose that the only performance that I was going to do is when I'm acting, and meaning when I'm acting in a movie or doing something like that. But when I'm here, no more. This season is truth from inside out, from inside out. So me saying no to my full 5-day schedule, it wasn't easy, but it was needed. I had to confront my fears of disappointing you all. My fear of not being enough. My fear of being judged for resting. But here is what I know now. Is that the most powerful thing that I can teach you is not perfection, but it's integrity. Y'all have to excuse me right now, because this is the first day that I'm back. And it's so emotional right now, because I do feel anew. And I want to go back a little bit, because I know I'm talking about perfection and integrity, but I want to go back a little bit because I remember wanting to do this every day, 5 days a week. And I remember when Dr. Will came on to this show, joined me almost 2 years ago. And I remember saying, "You really want to do all that?" Knowing that I had another podcast as well. And I said, "Yeah, I got it. I can do it." And I can be very honest, some days it was very draining, but I knew I had to do it. And a lot of times when I came on here, this is what motivated me and kept going, was talking, because I was literally going through my own teaching, through my own learning at that moment and at that time. So remember, I said that I'm a retiring perfectionist. Yeah. But now it's all about the integrity of what we're doing here. It's the willingness to live my message and just not speak it. So I'm asking you, all of you that's listening right now, what does authenticity look like in your healing journey? Where are you performing when you could be resting? Where are you saying yes when your body is screaming no? And where are you dimming? Where are you dimming your truth to make others comfortable? You see, this season, we're stepping into our authenticity together. And it starts with permission to heal at your own pace, permission to change your mind, permission to choose yourself. So now I want to share something with you. You know, in October, my birthday, I always do something special. And I'm kind of excited to share this with all of you. And those that follow me on social media kind of know an idea of what I'm getting ready to talk to you about. Again, my birthday month. This is my birthday month. And I'm releasing a new project under a new alias name. It's The Goddess, spelled D-A, Goddess of Self-Love. And the album is called Soundtrack to the Rebirth. Soundtrack to the Rebirth. The Rebirth, however you want to say the. But it's called the Soundtrack to the Rebirth. And it's my album. I know that some of you thinking like, okay, Nyomi, now you got a podcast, you're a healer, you're a speaker, you're a coach, you're a mama, you're a wife, you're doing all this. And so since when you making music? Since when you making music? Now, if you've been with me for a while, listening to this show, I want to remind you all, remember a few months back when we did this series, and I think I took, it was every Tuesday of that series. We did like a Tune Tuesday where we took, it was like 4 or 5 songs and we broke down the lyrics and exploring on how, we can truly apply them in our lives and how healing music can be or how powerful it was, right? And then there was also an episode that me and Dr. Will talked about in the, I think it was May, about creating and about, we talked about the soundtrack to one's life. Well, that conversation was planted in my seed unbeknownst to me, and now I am definitely living at it. But here's what I learned in the process, that just like there are chapters in books, and many books in a lifetime, right? Well, there are soundtracks, multiple soundtracks. And in this season of my life, Rebirth is my soundtrack. And I'm going to tell y'all this, it will not be my last. So I know I shared with you all before, if anybody just listening for the first time now, music is my first love. I was signed to Columbia Records. many, many years ago. I formed a girl group with my sister and my cousin. And I actually had my own record label called Family Boot Camp Records. This was towards the end of my adult career. I think for the last 3 or 4 years, I had Family Boot Camp Records. I had several artists. So I think I had about 4 or 5 artists on that record label. And I just always wanted to be a part of music. But somehow I convinced myself that somewhere along the way that I wasn't good enough to do that I wasn't good enough to do music again, that I couldn't sing anymore. But here is what I discovered, that I don't have to be a vocalist to be the artist. My gifts are in my words. My artistry is in my story. My power is in my testimony. And I am so, so very happy that a few years ago that I had read the 4 agreements. And in that first agreement, it's about being impeccable with your words. But not only that, it's about when we talk on here about having compassion for yourself, about using positive words and affirmation to be able to talk to yourself, to have that communication with yourself. So I'm going to tell you how this started off, okay? So this album actually started off as a melody. I woke up out of my sleep. It had to be like maybe 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe. And I never heard this melody before. The words were just starting to flow. And I guess it's just something that I needed to say to myself. And, in my head, I was like, dear me, love letter, dear me. And that comes out to be my first song. Then fast forward 24 hours later, I literally wrote, I want to say 22 songs in 24 hours. 22 songs of my testimony, my healing, my journey, my transformation set to music. So while I am writing the lyrics, as I'm sitting there, I want to go back some. Because this is another seed that was put in my head. I remember one of my good girlfriends, her and my best friend came and visited me in Chicago when I was at my aunt's as I was recovering. And I remember her telling me about this app that will take your music, your songs, your lyrics, and turn it into music. You let them know what genre you are. Do you want a male or female to sing it? When you put your hook, your bridge, your verse, all of that in there, and it will come out to be an amazing song. So when I did this, and I heard the very first song, which was Dear Me, y'all, I cried. I cried because I heard my voice so loud and clear. A lot of times that we write in our journal, but putting it on paper, putting it in music, and allowing somebody with an amazing voice to sing it. Oh my God, it put the emotion of it. It gave it a whole nother persona for me. But it was so much healing that came with that. And then I kept writing and kept writing and kept writing. And it came very therapeutical for me. It really did. So as I was writing the music, I had a revelation about divine timing that I needed to share with you all right now. Now, this happened on Thursday. And if you follow me on social media, I had posted a video explaining that, because I was supposed to started everything last week. I was supposed to start it on the 1st with everything. Came back with a brand new season with Ask Nyomi, the season of self-love. All of that, my projects. I had 2 other projects that I was going to drop. The Daily Love Letter and Elevate with Nyomi. And I had everything planned. I was ready. But during my recovery, I had to put my computer in the shop for a full upgrade. I needed a new drive, everything, get all the bugs out. And so when I went to go pick it up 2 weeks ago, I was excited to get back to work. But when I tried to use it at home in my studio, there was nothing. Nothing. Like I would bring it up, I would see a little screen, and I would try to go into some of my files, and it would not allow me to go into my files. Any of the programs that were still on there, they wouldn't come up. And then I realized majority of my files and content was erased from my computer. Yes. So then I took it back. I took it back to the shop. And the crazy thing is, as soon as we took it back to the shop, the tech plugged it in and it worked perfectly. Everything worked perfectly. The mouse was running, every file opened up, every program opened up, every software opened up. And me and my husband sitting there like, what the hell? It's like, wow, what is happening here? So I was excited. I'm like, well, never mind, let's go home. I can, get up and do it. So I brought it home thinking everything was great. And so the next morning, I come downstairs to start working on the 2 major projects that needed to drop in 5 days now. And guess what? The computer would not show up on the monitor at all. At all. So I'm like, wait, hold on, what's going on? Maybe it's the screen, maybe it's something. So I grabbed my laptop. I plugged my laptop in. Everything is working. So I'm like, what is happening? So I took a deep breath and I asked God, I said, God, what are you trying to tell me? Am I moving too fast? What am I missing? So the next day I took it back to the shop. Well, that Monday I took it back to the shop. And then the tech told me that they had to hold my computer for 3 to 5 days. Remind you, when I took it in, I only had really 3 days for the official release, the drop of the 2 new projects. So I remember sitting at the shop in that store, and I looked at her and she said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I can't do nothing but leave it here. That's the only way we're going to get this fixed. We already spent $300-400 on it, fixing it. So I'm being told to sit down in some way and pay attention to something. When I think about it at that moment, I could have spiraled. I could have gotten angry. I could have gotten anxious about missing the deadlines. But the thing is, I didn't. I didn't get angry. I didn't get nervous because I knew deep in my spirit that God, the universe, my ancestors was trying to tell me something. And as I was sitting at my altar and I was writing these lyrics, that is when it hit me like, God shut me down. God shut down my computer so I can hear my music. God shut down my computer so I can hear my music. He had to take away what I felt I was supposed to be doing so I can remember a gift and a love that I've forgotten. You see, music in that gift, that was a part of my true essence. That was a part of me, not just listening to it, but creating it. Music is a part of my soul. Again, not just for listening to dancing to it, but also to give it a voice. You see, this process for me has been truly incredible. Very incredible and healing for me, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And this is definitely something that I will be doing again. But more than that, this is a part of my ministry. It has been given to me yet another voice to serve others. So let me tell you about the soundtrack. The soundtrack, The Rebirth, is exactly what it sounds like. The soundtrack to my transformation. Every track represents a different phase of this journey. The pain, the reclaiming, the awakening, the celebration. This is probably my most vulnerable work. And I cannot wait for you all to hear it. So let me tell you about these songs real fast. So I told you about the first song, Dear Me. That's where it all began. And that's the moment that I decided to write myself that love letter. It's very tender, it's vulnerable. And again, it's the beginning of everything. And then the next track is Mirror, Mirror. And it's about looking in the mirror and finally seeing myself clearly. Not through society's eyes and not through shame, but through love. Through the love of my eyes, a reflection of me. And this song is about reclaiming your reflection. Now, the Divine Nine. This one right here was deeply personal for me. Because as you know, my spiritual number is 5. And as I was writing, I remember sitting and writing this story. And I remember getting up and going to, I have a picture, I have a frame with my father's obituary. And I took several different of his obituaries and tore it open. So we kind of put it in a picturette. And something would say, go look at the date that you all laid him to rest. And we laid my father to rest on March 15th. March is the 3rd month of the year. 15th is 1 + 5. That equals 9. And then this year, 2025, 2 + 0 + 2 + 5 is 9. And then my year, this is my year of the rebirth. And then I was born in 72. 7 + 2 is what? Is 9. So you see, all of this adds up to what? To 9. When I tell you that I truly went deep into this song, because that is this Divine Nine in the song, in the way that it was written, it was truly a healing moment, but that was an aha moment for me. Because even in my mother's womb, I was a humanitarian. I was someone of love. I was a Divine Nine. This song is about ancestral healing. It's about generational patterns. It's about stepping into the divine assignment that you were born into, that I was born into. And then my next one is probably one of my favorites. It is. I call this Reclaiming Unashamed. It's about this will be my explant anthem. It's about my body's sovereignty and removing what never belonged to me, and reclaiming my original self. This is for every woman who's ever felt less than because of how her body looks. And it's always been you. That's another beautiful track. This is a spiritual awakening song. This is where my 3 a.m. downloads came in. Back in a very critical year of everyone's life. And this was a realization that everything that I was searching for was already inside of me. It's always been me. It's always been you. And SSS is another song. This one is an amazing one. This was a nice little twist. And I can tell you this, I was actually, I don't want to say that I was afraid of it, because the verdict's still out on it, if you know how it's going to go. But it's SSS, Sexuality, Sensual, and Spirituality. And when I truly began on my healing journey, it's something that I wanted to do was to fuse spirituality and sexuality. Knowing that I've come from the adult industry. It's been part of my life, but not all of my life. But I'm also a very spiritual individual. And understanding and knowing that sexuality, spirituality, and sensual are a part of our core, is a part of our essence. One of the challenges is that when you're trying to combine and fuse those three, that's one of the challenges. Everything that society told me about being sexual and spiritual, that is not. In this song, it says, I do not have to choose. They are all part of me. They are all sacred, and God never left me, even when people said that I left God. So this is a very, very transformational song. It's very spiritual. It's good. It's a good one. It's playing in my head right now. And then as God is rising, you know, I had to say, speak on that. So this is a nice little fuse because it's a nice little hip hop R&B type of fusion, and it's about elevation. It's a glow up. It's a moment when you step into your power and you refuse to play small. And as y'all know, that tramp stamp on my back, me God and spirit, the God in me, that's what makes me the goddess. And that's what makes my persona, my character, the goddess of self-love. And then the finale, the last song, is the rebirth. And this is a triumphant closing. That's the declaration that I am reborn at 53, stronger and wiser and freer and unapologetically me. So when I created these 9 core songs with multiple versions of different vibes, different energies, different healing frequencies, because healing isn't one size fit all. Sometimes you need that tender version, and sometimes you need that bold one. And so all of these are free. All 9 of these are free. It's a part of my ministry. It's a part of my service. This is my offering to anyone on their healing journey. Now, here's how I'm rolling it out, all right? So I started a few days ago, leading up to my birthday, October 14th. I'll be releasing 1 track snippet per day on Instagram at the Goddess of Self-Love. And it's DA Goddess of Self-Love, all one thing, nothing in between. And so when I talked about it, when I thought about it sitting at my altar, it was 9 days, 9 songs for the rollout and just building it in of the full release. So again, when I was sitting at that altar and just going through it, I had to laugh when I was writing them songs because I said, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be paying attention to. I was awakened out of my sleep on Thursday morning to write that very first song. I was done. I'm not even going to say 24 hours. I was done by 10 o'clock at night. The next day, I think it was, did I post the first song? It was the next day or Saturday, one of those days. I think it was Saturday that I posted the first one. And I said, okay, I'm going to release this. I'm going to release this. So again, each post will feature the song, the title. And some of them I might give a little story behind it. But I'm just inviting you all to just walk this journey with me. And just to hear my words, to feel the transformation. And here's my only ask, is that no distractions when you're listening to it. Just close your eyes and hear my words. Now on October 14th, when the full album drops, I'm going to give you a little surprise. But again, remember, this is completely free. So there will be a link and everything that you can download the music, or you can go to the link and get it and just enjoy it. And here's the very beautiful part of it. I wrote those songs in 24 hours. And I know you yourself can write your own soundtrack to your own life too. That you don't need to be a trained singer. You don't need to have a record deal. You just need your story, you need your truth, and you need your words. When I tell you listening to your words in real time to music, to soulful music, it's a healing process. Just yesterday, I had one of my good friends over, and I had him listening to the tracks, and before I knew it, he was into it. He was like, wow, like, this is very healing, Nyomi. Like, this is, he said, wow, like, you got me in my feelings right now. And he asked me, he said, when you first heard your words, how did you feel? I said, I felt it through my soul. I felt it through every single one of my chakras. It was so much healing to it. and I said I was going to wait to say, but I'm going to say it now. I'm working on I'm working on a program right now, and it's going to take me a few months to do it. But I definitely want to do a healing module using music, especially when it comes to my clients. And I'm back in the next few weeks, getting back into my one-on-one coaching. But I definitely believe that's going to be one of the healing modules for, my clients, as well as doing other amazing things with it. But I know for you all, I know a lot of times we write in our journal and sometimes it feels flat. But maybe if you take some of those words and your feelings and you put them into a song, and later I'll share, what the app is and all of that stuff. But it's so good to just share your rebirth story, share what you're going through at this moment in this time and your transformation. And you create your own soundtrack of the rebirth. So also, tell me what you're reclaiming. Once you hear it and come back and I'll do some post up or something like that, I want you to tell me what you're becoming. All right? All right, so again, follow my alter ego, the Goddess of Self-Love. That's D as in dog, D-A, Goddess of Love, on Instagram for the daily rollout. And I want y'all to mark your calendars for October 14th and get ready to receive this soundtrack. Get ready to see this contract. All right, so before we get off, I want to remind you all about October is not only my birthday, but it's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And this year, it holds very deep meaning for me, is because my expert journey in breast health advocate has connected. So because here's what we don't talk about enough, right? Is women's bodies are not commodities, and our health should never be compromised or our aesthetic for societal expectations or for profit, right? So breast implant is much larger than that. But I want to say this because I'm running out of time right now, and I hate to do this, but we're doing a fundraiser. You can go to the Season of Self-Love. Not right now. I'm right here telling the story because I'm still working on that website now. But you can go to asknyomi.com. And it'll be right there on the front page. Our slogan this year is Body, Love, and Hope United. That is what it is. And our goal is $1,000. Our goal is $1,000. And also I want to tell you all about this too, is for 1 week is Men Breast Cancer Awareness Week for October 17th to the 23rd. It's always the third week of October. There's something that we're going to definitely talk about over there at Ask Nyomi this month, because that's something new. I really never, I heard of men having breast cancer, but just us to make aware of this, I want to make sure that I'm able to use my platform, for this. And again, it is $1,000 is up there right now. It's called Body, Love, and Hope United at AskNyomi.com. And hopefully by the end of this week, I've been revamped the Season of Self-Love, and it will be there as well. And again, our goal is $1,000. $1,000, okay? $1,000. Is it, we want to go beyond the fundraiser too. We want to go beyond that $1,000, all right? All right? All right, so again, I'll be back here for Wisdom Wednesday here on the Season of Self-Love. We got some amazing guests that's coming on Wednesday. I'm excited. I'm just so excited to be back. I'm excited to be back. Oh, and let me give you just a little tidbit. While going through all of this, there will be a new launching in 2026, Body Choice and Voice Podcast. It's going to be a space where everyone, from women, men, of all of us, can speak our truth without fear, shame, or judgment. A space where we can talk about body autonomy, medical advocacy, and reclaiming our power. All right. But right now, I just need your help. I need you to go donate right now. Share the campaign when I post it. Tag people who need to hear the message, and let's create a movement. Okay. All right. So I'm just thinking, I'm just going through my notes right now. Is there one more thing that we need to say? No, not really. Not really. I'm just so excited to be back. Remember the rollout for the soundtrack to the Rebirth. That's about it. That is about it. That is about it. Oh, no. Yeah, that's about it, because I'll be back on Monday. I'll be back next Monday to talk to more, all right? All right, my beautiful people, as I always say, be good to one another and yourselves, and always keep it sexy. Thank you, my beautiful people, for continuing to support me here on the Season of Self-Love. It's Nyomi Banks. Have a good one. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today, and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.